Guys, I'm back now. The phone was being stupid, so I had to do another video like this because it wasn't working properly. This is London again. This happened like a shooting in broad daylight again in London, which is ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of shootings, and why does it happen all the time? People are probably sick of the shootings. People just want to be able to live peacefully in their life and get on with their life, and people don't seem to understand that. They want to just cause chaos and carnage all the time with things. I'm sorry I had to stop the other video because the phone was being stupid. The guy just ran there, you saw. He was running away. So I need to find... I mean, a lot of people don't like talking about guns and violence and knife stabbings, which I can understand, but to people to understand what is going on in our own country and what is going around it is no matter, you know. I just want people to remember where their places are. And it's a sickening thing that people just want to go around hurting people for no reason. And there's nice people that get caught up in it as well. And they lose their lives. It's not fair in anyone. It's not a nice thing. Put it mildly. I'm just trying to find the recent videos. There's an article here about 11 months ago. It says London says no knives. So London, try and get this focused on there. Says no, London says no knives. So that's what it says.
I tell them, I always tell them, I always tell these boys, whenever you see these...
See, there's another incident that's happened there.
Yes.
Some people forget about the incidents that happened 2 years ago, 1 year ago of knife crime, and move on to something else and forget. You should never forget about something like this. It's hard to forget. And it's not nice to remember either.
Please God. Please God. Please God. Please God. Please God. Where's the air ambulance? Where's the air ambulance? Please get the ambulance. Look at the knife.
A lot of people are stressed out of this, you know, people are fed up.
Look at a knife there. Look at a knife there. How can you be stopping someone's child with that knife? How can you be stopping someone's child?
A lot of people can feel the pain.
God will punish these people. God will punish. Oh, Jesus. Oh.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It pisses you off, doesn't it? You know, you can't even walk down your own fucking road. Some people can't. Just to enjoy themselves and...
This is a typical shift for Operation Sceptre.
Fellow with a knife just threatened the landlord at the Clifton pub.
From knives to drugs.
See another incident.
This is the fight against crime.
So this is the police that do fighting against crime as well.
Well, tonight we've been given special access to Operation Sceptre. As you can see, I'm wearing a stab-proof vest. We're going to head out with an unmarked vehicle and undercover officers, so we can't identify them, but they're happy for us to come along with our cameras to see what. See,
people have to wear vests these days because of idiots.
I'm with the team of 7 dedicated
you don't know who's going to stab you or who's going to shoot you.
Knife crime in our capital.
If you just keep our eyes on, we're just leaving Rumney now.
And so what does a normal night look like for you, if there is such a thing as a normal night?
Well, they generally start the same, in that we'll just go out and start our patrols. We just go out and just see what we can find on the streets. The age range is sort of getting lower, really, because they, I suppose, they're exposed to it.
This is ITV News, by the way, if you guys don't know.
What ages are we talking?
About early teens, they start really. Some even younger, I'm sure.
Within a year, the team has carried out around 800 stop searches, which they say are working. Within minutes,
excuse me,
officers pull someone over.
Yeah. Okay.
We've just stopped in the city centre. The officers had some intelligence that the car that they've pulled over has been linked to drugs in the past, so they are now searching the vehicle, and they've also searched the driver and are waiting to find out if they found anything.
And they do. Around £200 in cash is in the driver's sock and a dumbbell bar in the passenger footwell.
I told him it's not an offensive weapon. When I asked him what it was for, he said he was helping a friend move house the other day and it was sort of left behind. I can't disprove that. I can't prove he's got any malicious intent with it. There we go.
So let him go.
Yeah, he's had a bit of advice and he's on his way now.
The team tell me they recover 3 to 4 illegal weapons every week.
No.
And as darkness descends, we're about to witness the next one.
A fellow with a knife just threatened the landlord at the Clifton pub, exited towards Broadway, dark-skinned male, black baseball cap, black t-shirt. That's the pub it's happened in. The fella's come out. So we're doing an area search.
Please stop for me, mate.
I've seen him walking across here, fits the description.
PC Richard Heath is first at the scene.
He's got a large kitchen knife down the back of his trousers, as I can see. He's walked towards me then with his hands behind his back, so
Yeah.
as I got the car and approached him, he's then dropped it, and then just literally got to take him straight away then. Just in case he got anything else, you don't know if it's more than one knife or anything else.
The blade they retrieve is around 8 inches long. This time it's a kitchen knife.
But, I mean, the main thing is we've got a knife off the streets and we've got somebody in custody for it. Yeah. Good result.
What are you on there?
Despite his protests on the night, Jai Patel later pleaded guilty to possession of an offensive weapon. The knife has now been destroyed and he has been sentenced to 4 months in prison.
Someone was carrying a knife in a pub, in a public place. Do the public need to be worried?
No, there's not a huge risk to the public in general. It's just people that live these lifestyles involved in drugs and things that injure each other and themselves. There's no real danger to the regular public.
Well, we're now in the early hours of the morning. We've just got back to the station where the guys are filling out a bit of paperwork after what has been an eventful night. Altogether, the team has carried out 13 stop searches. They made 1 arrest and they have seized an assortment of illegal drugs, as well as, of course, that knife.
A busy and positive night for the team, but also a reminder of the realities of knife crime on our streets. Alexandra Hartley, ITV News, Cardiff.
Wales, eh? That was 1 week ago. Makes you think and wonder. Some people shouldn't have to fear being on the streets and on their own road. They should be just allowed to go anywhere they want to go.
Welcome to Next Online Marketing. It's a quick plug about the knife crime.
This guy talks about knife crime in London.
Welcome to Next Online Marketing. It's a quick plug about the knife crime happening in the UK. I'm sick and tired of it. Every single day, someone has got shot, someone has got stabbed. Something needs to be done, and I'm going to give you a solution because the government has failed us. I don't know if to say society has failed us, especially our young people. So what can be done? I just read today of a young man sitting on the bench and he got hit in the head and he died. Last week, I don't know if you read it, there was a lady who was pregnant. She was about 7 to 8 months pregnant and she got stabbed to death. So we're living in a society where people are trying to look for solutions. People are wondering what in the world is going on. My people, I tell you, it's a spiritual dimension to it, but it's so dangerous. and I believe that the sentencing.
Oh, great! The TV's just turned itself off. Don't you guys just hate it when the TV just decides to switch off when you're watching something? That's annoying too. Just decides to bloody go off.
Prisoners are looking forward to going to jail. Alright, that's how bad it is. Some people can't get jobs, or they feel they can't get jobs in London or in the UK, and they feel that they need to commit a crime to go back to jail, where they get PlayStation, where they get free TV, they get education. That's how bad it is. There's no creativity in the minds of our government. They leave you to do your thing. That's why the government is there.
Why does it keep turning itself off? This is so annoying when the video just does this. I mean, I couldn't have gone onto the settings on the phone. It's connected to the bloody TV, and it decides to switch off and turn off.
Solution. Help other groups. Youth leaders.
It's done it again. There's obviously something wrong with the video. I mean, it's not my video, but I'm just fucking thing. Why is the TV disconnecting itself?
Right, you know, it's gonna do a lot more better than what we have today. My solution is the education.
Sorry for getting angry. It's done it again. It's just gonna keep doing it, guys. It keeps turning itself off. Sorry for getting angry, but the TV just keeps switching off.
And even about religion, they all combine. That's number one. Number two, you make it mandatory 10 years for you being caught with a knife. That's number two. Number three, you need to make school commit themselves like some kind of youth service. So after school, maybe twice a week, they go to an academy, they go to some kind of army detention center, or volunteer, or do charity work. Something needs to be done. You can't just get them to go home. And you need to make it easier for parents, because parents need to find a way to be home. Because the parents are working non-stop to put money on the table, to pay the bills. And what happens? What happens after that? The children have no parents to ask questions, to run to for help. And this is the situation we're facing, my people. Look, we're going to be bringing you more news. I mean, today's news is about the knife crime. Tomorrow I'm going to bring you another news about...
Shout out for this guy for saying that. I mean, I find it annoying, the knife bloody crime and the stabbings as well.
See what God does with him. What else is happening? Well, we might have a Boris Johnson as Prime Minister. 5 years ago, it was unimaginable, right? But anyway, I just want to end this video with people just stay safe. Focus on what you've been called to do. Don't just be a taker. Be a giver, a solution receiver. Bring solutions to the table. So if you're not the problem, you're the solution. Or if you're not the solution, then you're the problem. What do you have to offer for society? Don't only think about yourself. Give. Give your time and help other people in need as well. Alright? Why don't you like, share, and subscribe to my channel? And I'm looking to just say how I feel. Like I've been frustrated with what I've been seeing lately, and I hope that my people, you guys can share in this journey. Just telling it as it is, really. Alright? One love to you, one love to me, one love to the world. Peace.
Well, I couldn't have said it better than that. Just thinking. Sorry, I'm just in deep thought, guys. Thinking, looking for my YouTube channel. Well, looking for videos to show. It's just ridiculous. Trying to find latest videos, but everything seems to be 1 month ago.
Parents sending their teenage children to East Africa to escape London's knife crime. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heiser and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. I have my stein of coffee and I thought we'd look at this rather shocking example of just man world, where parents in London are sending their children to Somalia or to East Africa to avoid the crime in London. So refugee parents and their kids. So let's look at this article. So
It's in the Daily
Somali
Mail.
parents in London send their children back to war-torn East African country because they say it's safer than the crime-hit capital. Islington Mayor estimates 2 in 5 Somali families send children home. Rakia Ismail is herself a mother of 4 who came to London as a Somali refugee. One 15-year-old boy was stabbed 4 times just 17 days after returning to the UK from Somaliland. Hundreds of British parents are sending their teenage children back to East Africa to avoid the knife crime epidemic that has struck London and seen 51 murders this year. 51 murders! And the teenagers say they feel safer there, despite the Foreign and Commonwealth Office advising against all travel to Somalia and a warning against the threat of terrorism across Kenya. That's insane. Let's listen to a mother recount what happened to her son.
She brought him back in November 2020. He had been back in the country for 17 days. He received a text message from one of the women, from somebody she didn't know. He was in the middle of eating a meal. He put the meal down, went outside, and
It's ridiculous, isn't it? There's a lot of hurt people in the world, and things just seem to get worse and worse.
Poor kid. Bloody hell. Let's look at another account.
What was it called? Just seeing people being dropped every other day, being stabbed. Flooded their face and people in teenage, I would say. I've lost close friends. Like, there are people in my neighborhood, like someone that I really knew who lost his life. Who was what? Yeah. He got stabbed. Opened my eyes. It was just recently. It was just before I came here.
So there you go. So let's have a think. What could be causing this crime? What could be causing it? Fortunately, CNN has prepared some information for us. Let's have a look. Before we continue on with the article, we'll have a look at what CNN has for us. Now, London is becoming a hotspot for knife crime offences. You can see here the number of offences. London, and this was year ending March 2018, so it's a year ago now, offences per 100,000 people. London has had 14,733 offences and 167 per 100,000 people. So look at that rate compared to other parts of London, of England. Now, they've seen them also telling us, in the way they're presenting it, that the rise in knife crime across England and Wales Look at that. Look at the relationship between the number of police. We all remember when Sadiq Khan implemented his Twitter squad. Does anyone remember that? No. It's not. It's also not just the police. It's to do with poverty, and they've got the poverty rates here as well. And then, of course, it's a sexist thing. It's only affecting young men. It's only affecting young men. So that's the CNN take. I mean, honestly, I think those are some important things to consider that can't be dismissed, but I'd argue it isn't telling the whole story. Now, there's two things I would like people to also take into account. Now, this is a quote from Sadiq Khan in September 2015, when he was just a mayoral hopeful. I'll do everything in my power to cut stop and search, because apparently stop and search was racist, because it was targeting particular groups of people. Well, that's what they see. And here is the change in stop and search in England and Wales, as reported by the BBC. You can see, from 2009 to 2010, 1.4 million, right down. And I'll just bring this one up here again so we can see the nice numbers of the crimes in London. And we'll bring this one up here again to see the decrease in stop and searches. Because it was a campaign promise by Sadiq. Okay, what else? One more thing to consider. And this is a quote from David Dimbley, a British journalist, reminding everyone that 2/3 of the knife offences for under 25s in London were blacks or minority ethnic. Okay? So this appears to be an issue in those communities. I mean, parents who are refugees who went to, think about it, who went to England to get away from East Africa, to get away from the danger, and now sending their children back. They're sending their children back. Look, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. So let's have a look at one last thing before we go back in the article. And this is from Fact Check, or Full Fact, a charity fact-checking organisation in the UK. Now, are a majority of youth knife offences minority ethnic? That was the claim. 2/3 of knife offences under 25 were black or minority ethnic. Now look at their conclusion. In England and Wales, 38% of knife possession offences under 25 were non-white in 2017. So 38%. So obviously in England and Wales they weren't. It was 2/3 in London. So rather than addressing the thing, because this seemed quite strange that they were writing it like this. But obviously they're framing it. They're framing it in this particular way. And I read further down in the article, this was an update that they made at a later stage, because they were quite obviously critical of this comment here. But then when they were identified that it was actually about London and it was completely correct, what can you do? You need to change the narrative. So the conclusion is, yes, it's right. It's correct. So there's an issue in the communities there that represent these minorities in London that needs to be addressed. I think it is evident that it's increased. Sure, police numbers have fallen, but they're wasting police resources on Twitter hunts and other things. I'm sure poverty has a point to do with it. That's probably got more to do with the fact that you've got Labour governments, maybe European Union membership, a flood of foreign workers. That's depressing the ability for the lower classes to earn a living, the working classes to earn a living. And you've also, of course, it's a gendered issue. With regards to the crime, I'm not surprised men are committing more offences. But also Sadiq Khan, who promised to crack down on it for my racist reasons, he's saying, or his assumption that the left have that it's racist, these searches. Yeah. So let's get back to the article. I think I've framed quite clearly everything that's involved in it. Let me know in the comments what you all think. If you were a parent who had gotten out of a war-torn country, how bad would it have to be for you to send your kids back? Well, one mother, Ania, was interviewed on the BBC's Victoria Derbyshire program, that's what we watched the clip from, and told the harrowing story of how her 15-year-old son was stabbed 4 times just 17 days after he returned from a year-long stay in their homeland. She said they damaged his bladder, kidneys, his liver. He's got permanent damage. He was safer there than he was here, 100% more safe than in London. How would you feel as a parent? How would you feel? Sorry, as a parent, if you fled to London to provide safety for your children? Last year, the Foreign Office named Somalia the 13th most dangerous country in the world due to its constant threat of terrorism. Well, isn't there a constant threat of terrorism in London? Isn't terrorism a part of just living in a modern metropolitan city? And yet 2 in 5 Somalian families in London are sending their children home to avoid the knife crime epidemic hitting the capital, according to the mayor of Islington. Wow. So London versus Mogadishu murder rates. Somali parents living in London are sending their children back to their home country, even though the murder rates in its capital, Mogadishu, are far worse. Based on the most recent data, Mogadishu saw 1,376 murders in 2017, where London saw just less than a tenth of that number of 129. With a population of 2.4 million, Mogadishu's murder rate is 56 per 100,000 people. However, with a population of 8 million, London's murder rate is 1.46 per 100,000 people. Wow, they're big cities compared to what we got here in Australia. While the figures should speak for themselves, past incidents may indicate that young men from East Africa are more at risk of being killed in London. I wonder why. Probably gang violence. One mother, Issa Abdi, 48, lost 2 sons and a nephew to stabbings in London in the past 2 years. Well, that would have to be gang violence if all the families involved. What is going on there? Mayor Rahim Ismail, a mother of 4 who came to London as a Somalian refugee, said that parents are making the drastic decision because they believe it will save their children's life. So far this year, 100 people have been stabbed to death in the UK. What is going on in the UK? What is going on? According to the BBC, 8% of the victims were of Somali heritage. That seems like a huge blowout. Why are they more likely to be involved in this? What is going on? Earlier this morning, a man in his 30s was stabbed to death in London, sparking the capital's 51st murder probe this year. The most recent crime statistics show that there are 2 killings every day on Britain's streets, the highest level in a decade. 2 killings every day. 2 killings every day. A mentor of young Somali men in London, Jamal Hassan, explained on the Victorian Derbyshire program that parents will do anything to protect their children. He said, if it means that children don't finish school, college or university, or he will not have a good job by the time you come from them in the future, it's not really important. Yeah, it's because they're alive. What's important is the child's life. Yes, it's keeping them alive, not getting stabbed in all your organs, not having to use a bag to live. Yusuf, a 21-year-old boy who grew up in London and not want to be...
Back in a minute, guys. I'm just getting myself a drink of water. If that's okay with you guys. I'm dehydrated for all these videos I've been doing. I'm back, drinking my orange juice and filming the video. See, Typical. Very typical. One would say to me.
That he moved to Nairobi because he was seeing people get stabbed every other day. It's just, well, there you go. There you go, guys. You know, it's really just part and parcel of living in a modern, multicultural city. It's not part of the joy there. You know, luckily, Khan will do everything in his powers to cut, stop, and search. I'm not a fan of it, but what would you rather? Maybe that's just maybe giving up these freedoms to not be stopped and searched is part of what you have to, the price you have to pay to live in a modern, multicultural city. He said, there are people in my neighborhood, someone who I really knew who lost his life. Miss Emile said, does the parent wait for her child to be killed? Or does the parent take a decision, quite a drastic decision, to take him all the way back to wherever the child is originally from? Well then, what's that tell you about all the refugees getting into Europe? One mother who sent her child to Africa in a bid to avoid London's knife crime said she can now sleep at night knowing that the police sirens she hears have nothing to do with her son. London's latest stabbing comes just 2 days after a 23-year-old was knifed multiple times in Tower Hamlets at 4:30 in the afternoon. He was the 50th victim so far this year. Bloody hell. And it was the 8th murder in the capital this morning as Britain struggles to get to grips with the knife epidemic. This is on your hands, Khan. This is on the blood of these people is on your hands. The blood of these people is on your hands. Unacceptable. I mean, here you can see, and I'll link to this on my website if anyone wants to go through this, but okay, so the Somali mother who lost 3 boys to knife crime. Boys, Abi lost 2 sons and a nephew, yes. The son, aspiring accountant Sadiq Muhammad, 20, rang her as he lay dying. Oh, bloody hell. Leaving her a voicemail message begging for help, saying, I'm wounded, just moments after he was attacked by a gang of 4 wielding a samurai sword. Miss Abdi called for anyone carrying a blade to be taken off the streets. She spoke of her agony after her elderly son and nephew, both 20, were also killed within a mile of each other in London in separate attacks. Yes, the problem is you see the police pulling over people with pocket knives and pulling over people with spoons and arresting old ladies for pointing out illegal uses of Speaker's Corner. Last September, Miss Abdi's eldest son, Muhammad Adam, was knifed to death outside a takeaway. In 2013, his cousin, Muhammad Abdullah, was also fatally stabbed in the heart in a case of mistaken identity by a gang. See, it's gang violence. She said, I don't know who killed my son, I don't know why, but in September, Muhammad was killed and now Sadiq has been killed, and 4 years ago, my nephew was 2. They're all 20. It's unacceptable. I'm now so worried for my other children. They all live in the same postcode. Sadiq was an excellent boy. He was very close to me and his family. Well, there you go. Killings, going up. Rise in knife crime, going up. Oh, stop and search, going down. Why was Somalia named the 13th most dangerous country in the world last year? They've advised against all travel to Somalia and Somaliland, as the terrorists are very likely to carry out attacks in Somalia. Well, they're also very likely to carry out attacks in London. There's a high threat of kidnapping, yep. Somalia was plunged into a civil war in '91 when dictator Mohammed Siad Barre was ousted after 22 years in power. Rival warlords fought the decades-long civil war. It's the same old story, isn't it? It really is the same old story. Pirates plagued Somalia between 2005 and 2012 and were only eradicated with the threat of an international naval operation. The Islamic Union of Islamic Courts defeated warlords in the country's capital Mogadishu and took over in 2006. They were then ousted by Ethiopian forces in 2007 when a peacekeeping force Amazon deployed troops. A breakaway terrorist group, Al-Shabaab, then advanced into central Somalia and prompted an intervention from Kenyan forces. The country's first general election in 45 years happened in 2012 when the country's first formal parliamentarian more than 20 years was sworn in. Listen to this shithole. Listen to this shithole of a country, and they are sending their children there rather than risking them getting stabbed to death on the streets of London. London. Although the country is becoming more stable, there is still a threat of terrorist activity from breakaway extremist groups. I am happy I live in Australia. In 2017, the country saw its biggest terrorist attack when a bomb explosion in Mogadishu killed more than 300 people. Somaliland is considered to be an autonomous region of Somalia, declared independence in 1991 after Mohammed Tiabia was ousted as dictator. Although it hasn't seen any terrorist attacks since 2008, when suicide bombers attacked the presidential palace and Ethiopian consulate, the Foreign Office still advises against travel there. Well, guys, what do you think is the reason for all of this? I think, a lot of the blame rests on Khan. I think stopping risks has a big part to do with it. It's gone up. You can't, sure you can link it to poverty, but crime has always been linked to poverty. That's never going to change at all. Production police numbers, sure. Then why are police wasting time on Instagram, on Twitter, on all this other rubbish? It's just really, really concerning, guys. Anyway, let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Use the #HiSuccess hashtag on Twitter. And guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Ding the bell to see my daily updates. And I will promise I'll get some happy news soon. I'm sure I will. I'm sure. Anyway, see you all later.
Well, that guy's video is very interesting. Shout out for him and the other videos that I've seen with people on there. This world needs to really sort itself out eventually. Or country or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to go and get some sleep, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll do some more videos like this tomorrow or the day after. Thank you for joining me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share these videos with your friends. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace. See you later, guys. I'm back for another one tomorrow. Good night, everybody, and sleep well. I'm going to have a long sleep. I'm very tired for doing all these videos. Take it easy.